Alright, so today we are going to be surviving 400 days in hardcore Minecraft. In our first 300 days, we killed the enderdragon twice, killed the wither, looted an ocean monument as well as a mansion, and made several automated farms. So in this video, there are a lot more things I want to get done. I want to make a better XP grinder, and with that, make a second set of netherite armor to max enchantments, make general improvements on my base, and finally, kill the enderdragon and the wither at the same time. It's a lot to get done, but I think we can do it. So if you guys like this video, please be sure to hit that like button and subscribe. It's only 2 clicks, and if you do it, YouTube promotes the video more, and it really helps me out. So if you wouldn't mind, super simple. And with that, let's just jump into it. So the first thing I wanted to do was actually start a bamboo farm, so that way I could get scaffolding to help me build my projects in the future. Now, I didn't actually know where a jungle was. However, there is only one direction in this world that I've never gone. So once I flew in that direction far enough, I found a jungle pretty easily. I know my world's pretty well out 1,000 blocks in every direction, but again, this is the only direction I haven't gone, so this was my best chance of finding one, and there you go. So I grabbed my bamboo, and while I was here, I also grabbed some jungle wood in case I wanted it for, I don't know, decorational purposes or something in the future, as well as some jungle saplings, so that way if I really quickly needed more jungle wood in the future, I could just bone meal this and we would be all good to go. Once I got back, I just removed all the carrots and potatoes that were in my farm. I didn't really need to grow these anymore. I just sort of wanted them and I had nothing else to plant, so there you go. Next, the thing I want to work on is probably something I should have done, you know, in like the first 100 days, but just never got around to, is actually building a wall around my base. So that way random mobs can't just sneak up on me and blow things up. I mean, seriously, the amount of times I've encountered mobs at my house at nighttime is insane. This is something that I really needed to get done, so I just came up with a super simple wall design and immediately got to work placing this around my base. And this didn't really take me too long, but still a couple of days. And once we were done with that, the thing that I had to work on next was actually making sure there was proper lighting all around my base. Because when we fly up, as you can see, there isn't really torches everywhere. I didn't have enough torch coverage, so a lot of these mobs could spawn inside the walls. Now, I didn't necessarily want just torches lighting up my base. You know, glowstone is a bit brighter and looks a bit better. So I went to the nether and used my Silk Touch pickaxe to grab an absolute ton of glowstone. I don't want to show you all of that because that's super boring, just me breaking and then placing glowstone. But at nighttime here, as you can see, this is what it looks like. I did eventually run out of glowstone and had to finish the rest with torches, which isn't that big of a deal. It was mostly on the outskirts where I really wouldn't have to see it. And this is just me flying around my base, making sure there is absolutely not a single block that mobs can spawn. And as you can see throughout all of here, not a single mob has spawned inside of these walls, which means yes, we did have enough lighting. After all of that, I realized I was actually starting to run low on some basic, you know, supplies like coal and lapis lazuli, so I kind of actually had to go mining for my first time in like hundreds of days. And this was a perfect opportunity for me to grab some extra diamonds, because like I said in the intro, I did want to make some extra netherite tools and armor, which means I do need some extra diamonds. So for these next few days, I basically just went mining, filled up a shulker box with a bunch of cobblestone because I needed that for some projects too. And after a couple of days, this was our final vein of diamonds that we found, so went ahead and just broke all of this. And after these few days, that brought our total amount of diamonds up to 60 thanks to my Fortune 3 pickaxe. More than enough for the rest of my future endeavors in this video. So now that I had all the cobblestone that I needed, we could get to work on one of the most insane projects I've ever done. I found this one YouTube channel that has great tutorials on a bunch of different farms and grinders that you can have, and one of the most popular videos on their channel is an Enderman farm, and that is I mean, it produces so much XP. I knew I had to build it, so I just started gathering all of the supplies. And right here you can see me gathering a bunch of leaves. You need that because you can place those down and Enderman cannot spawn on leaves, so it's really helpful just to have a bunch of those. Thanks to the cobblestone and everything else and all the supplies, took me quite a while to get everything I needed to build all of this, but once we got it all, we were well on our way to building this thing. And the first thing we had to do was actually place some lava and let it flow off the end, so that way it would build us a nice pillar down of which we could branch off of. So once I got down there, I used our leaves to branch really far away, and basically being this far away meant that no Enderman would spawn on the main island here, and they would be all spawning in in my grinder. So I made a quick little base here with cobblestone, got the hoppers down pointing at the chest, and now we really just had to build the spawning area. I built this upward platform, and they said to cover this entire thing in carpets, which, thinking on it now, I don't really understand why. Like, the reason why they had me do it was that way no enderman could spawn here, which I could have just put slabs here instead of carpets, so I don't really know why they wanted me to use carpet, but hey, it's their tutorial, so I'm gonna follow it. And if you want to watch that tutorial, I'll leave their channel name in the description down below. Once I did that, I had to build our pillar upwards. This is where all of the endermen were going to fall down below, and then once we were at the top, we had to build an absolutely massively sized base where all of the endermen would be spawning. I knew this would take a ton of cobblestone, which is one of the reasons why I went mining, and actually, a part of the way through building this, I realized I could just cover this entire thing with slabs instead of actual full cobblestone blocks, like they said in the tutorial, so I did manage to save some cobblestone, and then as you can see right here, I'm just finishing the rest of this. Basically, I'm just putting an endermite in a minecart, and endermen don't like endermite, so they chase it, fall down, and here you go. All of the endermen fall, and now they are only one shot to death. So you just punch them, and I am getting a massive amount of XP from this. It is so insane. And I am getting more ender pearls than I could ever even need for the next 10,000 days. This thing is so insane. It's unlike anything I've ever had in Minecraft before. This was gonna save my enchanting time. I used to have to spend days upon days upon days just to get one enchantment. And in case you're wondering what it looks like on top, this is basically what it is. As you can see, all of the endermen are spawning in. They are seeing that endermite in the minecart, getting angry at it. I don't know why. That's just their behavior. They go towards it, fall down the pit, and that is that. So like I said, this would have saved enchanting times so much, so I went to my old XP grinder, which was just an ordinary mob spawner, grabbed all of my bookshelves and stuff, and moved it into the end here. And I immediately started enchanting books because, as you guys pointed out in my last video, my armor isn't actually max enchanted. I forgot thorns. So yeah, that's what I'm trying to do right now, is get thorns on these books, so that way I can apply it to my armor. Now, I enchant till I'm at XP level 27, and then literally 2 minutes later of sitting at this mob grinder, I'm now at XP level 41. That is how insane this thing is. It saved me so much time. Throughout doing all of this, I also got a sweeping edge book, and I realized that wasn't on my sword. I needed sweeping edge, so I applied that, and there you go. Now my sword is not actually at max. Looking at this, recording while editing it, I forgot to add sharpness. That's something I should probably do. It's only sharpness 4. Then I got back to enchanting, and for some reason, I don't know if it's actually not possible for Thorns 3 to be enchanted on a book, but I could only ever get Thorns 2 on my books. So I had to combine 2 Thorns books together to get a Thorn 3 to eventually put it on my armor. And after sitting here for a couple of days, I eventually got everything that I needed for Thorns 3 on all of my armor, which, if it took me a couple of days to get Thorns 3 with this XP grinder, I can't even imagine how long it would have taken for the other XP grinder that I had. Sitting AFK at my old grinder, I would be able to get like 10 levels in like half a day. It was so slow. But right there, boom, added thorns to the rest of my armor, and now I think my armor is actually at max enchants. Nothing else I can possibly add to the rest of them. If I'm wrong, please let me know, but I'm pretty sure I got it right. So with that, I went back to my base, checked out my iron golem farmer. As you can see, it's working quite well. Grabbed all the extra bamboo that I had just because it was max grown, and then I went to AFK at my gunpowder grinder. The reason why I did this is because I wanted a bunch of gunpowder for TNT, because TNT is by far and away the most efficient way to get ancient debris in the nether. After AFKing for about 30 minutes, that's how much gunpowder I got. Combine that with the other gunpowder that I already have, and we can make a substantial amount of TNT from this. The only thing that I was lacking at this point was, you know, the sand. But before I got that, I realized that I had never actually made the bridge from my current base to the island where my gunpowder grinder is. So that's what I decided to work on right now. I already had all the supplies I needed to make a bridge, so after looking up online for a good, you know, bridge design, because I'm a horrible builder, we were able to get underway building our bridge. I couldn't just build a straight bridge from my base to the island because it wasn't lined up perfectly, so as you can see, I had to bridge over to this other little mini island and then bridge from there to the gunpowder grinder. And didn't take me very long to build this bridge. It was a super nice bridge design. I really liked it. wasn't that hard, looked super nice, just made my base just that much nicer to look at. I've never been one for decorating and, you know, all that aesthetically pleasing stuff, but hey, if I'm making a series here, I might as well make things look good for you guys. After that was done, I just added some blackstone to the actual gunpowder grinder room to make that look nice as well, and it was at this point that I realized while editing, I never actually showed you guys what the entire thing looked like. So after I was done recording this entire 100 days and I was editing this, I then recorded this footage right here, which is why some things in my inventory might look different, but this is what my bridge and gunpowder grinder room looks like. Overall, super simple, looks really nice. Once I was done with that, I continued on with my other task of getting a ton of TNT. Like I said, I needed a ton of sand because I didn't really have any. So, I mean, I was right next to a desert, like literally 100 blocks away, so getting sand is the easiest thing in the world, especially with my efficiency 5 shovel. In only a single daylight cycle, I was able to get an entire shulker box worth of sand as well as half an inventory of sand as well. And now all we had to do was actually take our sand and gunpowder and turn that into all the TNT that we needed. And putting it all together, we got a massive 7 stacks of TNT. We should be able to get more than enough ancient debris from all of this TNT to make a brand new set of netherite armor, as well as all the netherite tools that we need. One of the reasons why I want extra netherite tools is because I don't have a silk touch shovel or a fortune axe, so I really wanted those, so that's one of the reasons why I'm doing this. So with that, I was off to the nether, and I decided to actually find a new place to mine my ancient debris. The other place that I was mining, I ended up running out of room. I was basically enclosed by walls of lava, so I needed somewhere else, so I flew a couple hundred blocks out and found myself a new spot. And basically what I did here is I just dug in a straight line pretty much as far as I could go, hundreds of blocks in one direction, using my fire resistance to clog up any little annoyances of lava along the way. I then just placed TNT along that tunnel. I didn't do it as efficient as possible. I think technically to be as efficient as you can, it should be 1 TNT per 4 blocks or something like that. But I just sort of tried to do every other block. I wasn't really trying to be that efficient here. I just wanted to, you know, see TNT go boom. So that's exactly what I did. I lit it here, and unfortunately, I actually placed the TNT a bit too low. If you see right there, you can see a ton of bedrock, which means we are much too low, and I should have placed this TNT at least a few blocks higher to maximize the potential of finding ancient debris from all of this. But even with that mistake and having all of this bedrock exposed, we were still able to find 3 whole veins of ancient debris, and we literally only used, I think it was a stack of TNT for that 1 row of explosion that you saw right there. And then literally only after mining a few blocks into my next row for my more TNT, I found a vein of 3 netherite. I've never gotten this lucky in my life finding netherite, and I just so happened to find it right now when I didn't need to because I had my TNT to do all of the work for me. Well, whatever, it's nice. I got an extra 3 netherite. And after a little while, I did refine my process right here. My TNT is still just a block too low, but still got it working quite efficiently, finding myself a ton of ancient debris along the way. And after I used my last little bit of TNT right there in my inventory, you can see I now have 45 ancient debris from those 7 stacks of TNT. It was a great haul. I probably wouldn't have to go mining for ancient debris for a very long time after this. And this is the massive tunnel that I blew out with all of this TNT. Took me quite a while to do all of this. Wasn't really hard, just really tedious breaking and then placing all of that TNT. But overall, super simple. Got a ton of netherite from it. Right there, as you can see, I got 11. So that is enough for basically everything, a brand new everything. So we are good to go now. After that, I made the extra tools that I needed, went to my Enderman farm to start enchanting the axe and shovel to get what I wanted. So now all that's left to do is actually get proper enchantments on my new diamond tools, so that way I can actually turn them into netherite tools. So I went to my Enderman farm, and it was at this point that I actually realized my current netherite axe isn't actually efficiency 5. So I just really quick put efficiency 5 on this thing while I was here. Let's just pretend it's been efficiency 5 this entire time and I didn't make this mistake. But anyway, once I got that done, I could actually start working on enchanting my diamond tools to eventually turn them into netherite. And bada bing, bada boom. There you go. I now have my axe and my shovel all ready to go, ready to be turned into netherite. I had some extra efficiency books left over, so I made sure that both my new axe and my new shovel were both efficiency 5 and ready to go. And while I was here, I noticed that my farming tool wasn't actually maxed out with with efficiency, and, you know, again, had some extra efficiency books, so just enchanted that to efficiency 5 as well. Because, you know, who doesn't need an efficiency 5 netherite to farm a utensil? By far and away the most useful thing in the game. And at that point, I also figured, hey, while we're here, we might as well max out my bow. I never actually got my bow a flame enchant, so I just made a new bow, got it some flame, combined that together, and there you go. I now have pretty much max enchantments on everything in the game. I was still missing a few enchantments here and there, but it really wasn't that important, so I just went back to my base and turned my tools into netherite. So now I had 2 netherite shovels, axes, and pickaxes. And on every single one of them, I had 1 silk touch and 1 fortune from the other. Now, I also wanted to apply mending to all my new tools, and I figured, hey, the easiest and funnest way to get emeralds would be to complete a raid. So I AFK'd for days to try and get a patrol to spawn, but none ever did. It was at this point, through some Googling, that I realized that a captain can actually just spawn at a pillager outpost, and I knew where a pillager outpost was thanks to me finding a mansion earlier. So I just went there, I killed the captain, got the bad omen, went back to my base, and boom, a raid immediately started. And now, thanks to my maxed out armor and weapons and everything, I absolutely was not scared of this raid, but you know, I still prepared. I had some strength and health potions ready to go just in case on the off chance that I got low, but yeah, not really anything to worry about at this point in the game. Now, I did want to actually have a nice replay kind of time-lapse overhead, but sadly that recording got corrupted and I wasn't able to use that footage. So here's some really sped up footage of just the last couple of waves in the raid. And throughout all of this, I think the lowest my HP ever got was like half HP. So yeah, really I wasn't that close to death. I wasn't even playing it safe either. I could have played it a lot safer, but I primarily wanted to use my sword, get up close and personal to try and use the looting on my sword, get as many emeralds as possible, rather than keeping my distance and using my bow. But once it was completed, I picked up all of the drops and ended up with 52 emeralds from that singular raid. And rather than trading for mending books, I actually at this point decided to use this emerald to put to the top layer of my beacon, because, you know, why not? Gotta flex on you guys. And it was at this point that I realized I actually had enough iron blocks to actually complete our beacon to the final max out level. I didn't really want to have the iron block showing because iron is poor and I didn't want to be poor. I wanted to flex with gold, but I did have to finish the outside a little bit with some iron there. But there you go. After how many days, we have finally got a maxed out beacon, and of course I got speed 2 with this thing, so that way we can just absolutely zoom around our island, because that's just fun and amazing. I love it. But there you go, maxed out beacon. At this point I literally ran out of gold. I didn't have any left, so I went to the nether and immediately started mining the gold ore with my silk touch pickaxe, so that way I could smelt this into actual gold ingots for later. You don't want to see that because that's really boring, so we'll just go ahead and skip past all of this. Once done with that, I decided I probably should actually get the mending books to apply to my new tools, so I started brewing some potions so that way I could prepare for a second raid. I went back to that pillager outpost, got the bad omen, went back to my base, and here we go. And it was at this point that I was actually thinking to myself, I should probably actually make like a raid farm, because all of these pillagers every time went behind my house and just sort of stood there when they could get there, because that's the villagers that they were trying to attack, was underground from that exact spot. So it got me thinking I could probably just make a raid farm where I could just, trap them all, make them fall in a fall damage trap and then one-shot them. But yeah, that's probably a project for the future. But right there, completed the raid, ended up with actually over an entire stack of emeralds from this one. And I could use all of those emeralds to trade with my librarian villager. And we were unfortunately only able to get 3 mending books from this trade. But hey, still better than nothing. So since I only had 3 mending books, I decided to apply it to my pickaxe, my farming utensil, and my fishing rod, because those were the 3 most likely things to break. So, had to just go ahead and make sure that those would stay nice and safe. And I'm not sure what made me think of this or realize this, but I realized you could actually apply sharpness to axes. So I went back to the end really quick to my XP grinder and just enchanted both of my axes with sharpness 5, because why not? Might as well. Gotta try and max him out as best as I can. At this point, I wanted to work on a new project, and for the longest time, I've actually wanted to build an aquarium because I figured that would be really, really cool and it would look nice, but I've never really got around to it. So after finding a tutorial online on how to build an aquarium, because I am a terrible builder and I know I cannot do this without help, we were on our way to getting supplies. And the primary thing that I needed was quartz. Unfortunately, you needed a lot of quartz. I was gonna need something like 7 stacks of blocks just for this entire build or something. I can't remember. But there you go. This is after a few days of mining nothing but quartz. I finally got all that I needed, plus a little bit extra. I then completed my task of, gathering up the rest of the supplies that I needed for this build. That included a ton of sand, a ton of glass, ton of decoration blocks. I had to get some gravel to make concrete blocks. I had to go kill squids for their ink sacs so I can make dyes. It was a whole process. Took me a few days. But once it was done, I could finally actually start building this thing. Took me a couple of days, so we'll just go ahead and overview time-lapse this entire thing. And again, this build is not original to me. I am following a tutorial off of YouTube. Again, I will leave the name of their channel in the description down below so you can find this video yourself and build, this exact aquarium style house if you would like to do so. But once I finished the shell, I had to fill the inside with water, which was incredibly tedious and boring, but yeah, had to do that. Accidentally waterlogged my roof thanks to all of this water, but we can fix that later. And then all that was left to do was add the decoration. I added some seagrass and sea pickles to the top, as well as those to the bottom, and a ton of corals and everything else. Decorated the inside with a bunch of just, random stuff that I had laying around. And then now I needed to, actually fill the aquarium. So I grabbed as many buckets as I could and started flying out. I wanted tropical fish for this aquarium, and lucky for me, a tropical warm ocean biome was only a couple hundred blocks away from my base. So I flew there, grabbed a ton of tropical fish in a bucket, went back to my base, dumped all of those fish inside the aquarium, and I just did that over and over and over and over again until I had something like 40 to 50 fish inside my aquarium. And then one final bit of decoration that I wanted to add to this aquarium was just having like netherite armor and diamond armor on display. Again, just for the ultimate flex. Gotta do it to you guys, gotta flex my riches on you. So I went and made a second set of diamond armor, went back to my XP grinder to enchant that diamond armor with just some basic enchantments like protection, and then turned that into netherite. I figured, hey, having this on display, in case I ever lost my current armor, then I would have something extra left over, just grab it from the display. But right here, as you can see, I'm just draining the water, preventing it from being able to flow, so that way you can see the armor better on display. I had this extra set of diamond armor from the first 100 days in this series that I just never got rid of, so I added that on display as well. And then once it was done, there you go. Had my netherite and diamond armor on display, and if we want to go ahead and just go inside here, this is what it looks like inside. This thing is completely useless. I will literally never use this house ever in my life, but hey, it looks really, really cool, and it's gonna look amazing in the background when I'm actually doing projects that will help me. So there you go. I don't know why I did this, but I did. Another challenge that I wanted to complete was actually getting some advancements done. I've actually been getting advancements done over the 400 days of this entire series, but most of them are just really boring, and I didn't feel the need to show them. So I guess I'll just show you some of the ones that I've been doing on and off throughout the series. And on this one, what we're trying to get is a Furious Cocktail, which is have 13 potion effects applied all at once. I got the resistance and regeneration potion effects applied to me thanks to my beacon. I then had to brew the other 11 potions. It was really, really tedious and kind of confusing brewing 13 potions at once, but there you go. And there you go. Challenge completed, a Furious Cocktail. And I figure I'll just go ahead and show you one of the other ones that I'm doing. It's really, really simple. All you have to do is get a bullseye on this bullseye target from 30 meters away, which is surprisingly difficult to actually do, so I just cheesed it here by using some redstone to open a trapdoor. So there you go. I gave up on the rest of my achievement hunting and actually got to work on getting some wither skeleton skulls, because the final achievement I mentioned that I wanted to get, of course, was killing the wither and the ender dragon at the same time. One of you guys left a comment on my channel saying I should do this. Since I've already killed the ender dragon twice and the wither, I should just kill them both at the same time for the added challenge, and I liked that idea. It was a pretty good idea and sounded actually kind of challenging, so I figured, hey, that's what we'll do. And plus, getting the extra nether star from the wither would be really nice for a second beacon. Now, I grabbed 2 skulls, and I thought that was good enough because I thought I had an extra skull at my base, but it turns out, you know, I didn't have an extra skull, so that was fun. So I actually had to go back to the nether and try to get that skull. I already got the 6 gas tiers that I needed to make my 4 end crystals to respawn the ender dragon, so really the only thing that I needed left to complete this challenge was to get this final wither skeleton skull. So I went back to my base, crafted the 4 ender skeleton skulls. Ender skeleton skulls.
Bro, did I actually just say ender skeleton skull when I meant to say end crystal? What is actually wrong with me right now?
Grabbed all the soul sand and stuff that I needed. I figured, hey, we might as well prepare for this fully, so I grabbed some extra strength potions, some instant health potions, crafted some extra golden apples, and we were on our way. I wanted to try and time this as best as I could for the ender dragon to respawn at the same time that the wither spawns in. I didn't quite time it right, but we were kind of close enough here. So here we go, our hardest challenge yet, killing the wither skeleton and the dragon at the same time. And now, I made a mistake here, and I want to see if you guys can catch it, because it's actually a pretty deadly mistake, and it actually almost resulted in me dying. Now, I wasn't taking that much damage while the wither skeleton was still in the sky, but once it got down and started dealing melee damage to me, look at my HP. I got down to, I think at one point, as little as 3 hearts. I was a couple hits away from death in this series. And after I killed the wither skeleton, that's when I realized when I opened my inventory.
I never took off the elytra and put my chest plate back on.
I fought the wither at half armor. I almost died because of a stupid mistake like that. I thought that fight was a little bit harder than usual, but I couldn't figure out why until, yeah, I did that. But once that was done, that was the hardest part out of the way. I put my elytra back on to fly around to take out all of these towers, which taking out these towers with an elytra it feels like cheating. It's just so simple. But anyway, once I took all of those out, I got down to killing the ender dragon, and I decided to deal the bulk of my damage to the dragon while flying in the sky, because, you know, the dragon flies. I just wanted to prove to it that I can fly better than she can, you know, because why not? I drank my strength potion. Probably should use my axe here to deal as much damage as possible, but used my sword to get it down to just a few hit points. Like I said, wanted to fly around just to flex on the dragon, so I did the final bit of damage here while I was flying in the sky. Only needed a couple more hits, and there you go. Killed the ender dragon in this series for the 3rd time. And I did it while killing the wither at the same time. So, absolutely fantastic achievement. I said in my previous video, I also wanted a ender dragon skull to put on my base somewhere to flex. So I went into the end to try and find an end city, and literally immediately, I found an end city where I could find the stupid ender dragon skull. That is by far and away the quickest I have ever found an end city in my life. In fact, I found it so quick, by the time I got back to my base, I actually had an entire day left before our 400th day. You know, I'm usually pretty good at timing things out to get us, you know, done with the video by our 400th day, but boom, we're only on day 399 right now. I had an entire day left over with no idea what to do at this point, so I had to try and fill in all this time. I figured, hey, it gives us plenty of time to build a shrine for the dragon skull, so I went ahead, did that with some extra quartz that I had, some gold and diamonds for the ultimate flex, you know. But I still had over half a day left by the time I finished this, so I went back to my aquarium. Like I said earlier, I accidentally waterlogged the ceiling of my aquarium. Didn't mean to do that, so I just fixed all of that, which you don't really want to see that. That's super boring, so I'll just cut the rest of this out. Until finally, the sun was about to set to bring us to day 400. Again, I never used Pongo in this entire 100 days, but I mean, Pongo's been with me since I think literally day 1, so Pongo deserves to be with me at the end of every single one of these challenges. By far and away the longest I've ever kept a pet alive. And there you go, the sun is setting on our final day here, so just made our way home, went to sleep, and that brings us to day 400. I have officially survived 400 100 days in hardcore Minecraft. I couldn't imagine I ever would have survived this long. This is by far and away the most work I have ever put into a single world in my entire 9-year Minecraft career. Absolutely insane how far we advanced. Now, my base doesn't really look that much different from the last video because, again, most of the work I did in this video was just sort of actual improvements to like armor and stuff like that and things you can't really see. The most cosmetically pleasing thing I did in this entire video was my aquarium. But yeah, we still did get an insane amount of work done in this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, hit that like button, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!